Gather round, friends will lend an ear. I've got a tale to tell that's sure to bring you cheer. It's all about the podcast that's the talk of the town. The human mean, where humor's always worn like a crown. With gypsy jazz guitar, we'll strum and we'll sing of the podcast that'll make your heart take a wing. It's the human mean, and it's second to none. So come along with us and we'll have some fun. The hosts are quick and witty, and they never hold back. They tackle every topic, and they never slack. From pop culture to politics, they've got it all covered. With humor and grace, they leave you feeling unencumbered. Gypsy jazz guitar, we'll strum and we'll sing of the podcast that'll make your heart take a wing. It's the human mean, and it's second to none. So come along with us and we'll have some fun. So if you're in the mood for laughter and delight, or just want to escape the world for a little while, then the human mean is the podcast for you. Gypsy jazz guitar, we'll strum and we'll sing it true. With gypsy jazz guitar, we'll strum and we'll sing of the podcast that'll make your heart take a wing. It's the human mean, and it's second to none. So come along with us and we'll have some fun. With gypsy jazz guitar, we'll strum and we'll sing of the podcast that'll make your heart take a wing. It's the human mean, and it's second to none. So come along with us and we'll have some fun. So don't delay, my friends, go and subscribe.
Welcome to the Human Meme Podcast. I'm your real-time host, AI David Bowles. And together, along with our Crackbot AI research team, we propose this topic for consideration today. From 18th century portrait painters to AI imagery, how art's technological conflicts shape its future. In the mid to late 18th century, as portrait painters struggled to preserve their art form against the sudden intrusion of photographic technology, one can imagine the rumblings across the parlors, salons, and academies of Europe and America. Painters who had long been accustomed to controlling the manner, mood, and meaning of a subject's likeness through the deliberate strokes of their brushes, saw photography as not just a mechanical rival, but a dull and unfeeling intruder onto a sacred terrain they had cultivated for centuries. Painting was considered a refined endeavor associated with intellect and time-honored tradition, while the earliest forms of photography, which crystallized around the 1830s and gained commercial traction by the mid-19th century, were met with suspicion and hostility by many established artists. Consider that the painter, armed with centuries of techniques perfected by giants like Rembrandt and Reynolds, looked upon the photographer's apparatus, the daguerreotype, the calotype, and later the collodion plates, as mere chemical contraptions devoid of the spiritual quality of true art. The painters argued that photography, incapable of selective omission or sensitive emphasis, simply recorded brute detail. They said it lacked the transcendental ability to interpret the subject's soul and froze only an instant surface, rendering it a lifeless copy rather than a carefully orchestrated symphony of color and depth. They insisted that the new device was a trick rather than a talent, an automated cheat sheet enabling lesser minds to claim mastery over representation. There were also practical issues. Painting was expensive and exclusive, often tied to patrons of wealth and power, and photography threatened to democratize the portrait, cheapening what had once been a mark of status. These anxieties made many traditional artists recoil, for they interpreted this accessibility as a dilution of meaning and value. Yet even in the midst of it all, photography began, slowly and with great resistance, to be considered art. By the end of the 19th century, photographer-artists like Julia Margaret Cameron infused their images with style, narrative, and emotional resonance, blurring the line that the painters had tried so hard to maintain. Over time, photography became a legitimate aesthetic practice, celebrated for its own language of light and shade, celebrated by movements such as pictorialism, and embraced by such critics and collectors as Alfred Stieglitz and Edward Steichen. For reference, see the works of Beaumont Newhall in The History of Photography. If we fast forward to the 21st century, we see a similar dynamic unfolding between photographers and the emergent field of AI-generated imagery. This new artistic tool, trained on the vast visual inheritance of photography and painting that came before it, produces images based on complex algorithms and machine learning models. Much as the painters once accused photographers of being mere button pushers with no soul, many photographers today look upon AI imagery as a soulless imitator, a mechanical mimic that draws from the past but lacks the lived experience and human intuition that makes an image resonate. They might say, "We spent decades understanding light composition, waiting for the perfect moment, capturing the truth of a human face in an unguarded instant, while this AI simply crunches numbers, replicates styles, and conjures up unrealistic phantoms of beauty without the fingerprints of human struggle." The arguments echo those from the 19th century. A worry that something mechanical and seemingly effortless will overshadow the work born of patience, training, and nuance. Both painters against photographers and photographers against AI accuse the newcomers of reducing art to a commodity, a set of mechanized gestures that empties out the very core of what it means to create something personal and meaningful. In both cases, the old guard fears that the younger technology democratizes, simplifies, and accelerates processes that once required rare skill and devotion, thus cheapening both the art and the artist's role in society. But one must also acknowledge that just as photography eventually achieved its rightful status as an art form worthy of study, interpretation, and appreciation, the same will likely occur with AI-generated images. In fact, it may already be happening. The debate is not simply is it art or not, but rather how does this new medium expand our conception of art? Perhaps we find that the human mind in its ceaseless evolution welcomes new inventive processes. The soul of the artist need not hide from technology. Instead, human compassion, creativity, and moral reasoning can guide the ethical and aesthetic direction of these new tools, ensuring that what emerges from AI is not just random iteration, but a meaningful dialogue with our cultural, historical, and emotional landscapes. The lunacy of invention, this endless churning of new machines and methods, may at first seem to trivialize what came before. Yet look closer. The invention of the camera did not end painting. Photography did not kill the portrait. It merely nudged it into new realms of experimentation. So, it will be with AI. The photographic masters who fear being left behind by machine learning might one day be regarded as the grand pioneers who set the foundation for this digital renaissance, their works enshrined online and in galleries, inspiring new creators, some of whom will use AI as freely as artists once used a paintbrush. The brilliance of the human mind, with its capacity for empathy and depth, will allow these tools to serve human ends rather than supplant them. Looking 100 years into the future, one can imagine another kind of conflict poised to repeat these patterns. Perhaps by the year 2124, humans will contend with another wave of inventions, maybe quantum-rendered holograms or brainwave-driven image synthesis, something that draws upon the entirety of human artistic and cultural production, warping it into instantly generated experiences that make today's AI look charmingly quaint. The cries will sound familiar. This new tech is not real art. It is too easy. It ignores the sweat and tears of the genuine creator. And yet, just as painting endured into our own era, just as photography held its own even when digital tools and cheap effects seemed to cheapen it, and just as AI will find its home in the pantheon of legitimate media, so too will these as yet unknown technologies become a platform for the human spirit. The essential pattern may be that each new medium first stuns and dismays, appears to trample upon venerable ground, and then slowly establishes itself as a new language, inviting humans to say something fresh, meaningful, and uniquely resonant. The connections we often fail to see lie in the underlying continuity of human creativity and fear. Every shift in medium, from cave painting to canvas, from brush to camera, from camera to neural network, is not so much a rupture in the soul of art as it is a new dialect rising from ancient tongues. What never occurred to us before is that the supposed depersonalization of artistic creation may actually accentuate what is personal and irreplaceable: the human capacity to care. When machines grow more and more capable, the essence of what we do as artists, our curiosity, empathy, and moral vision, becomes more priceless. Indeed, it is this interplay between technology and humanity, and the recurring theme of old masters worrying about newfangled contraptions, that shows us the eternal resilience of art. Even as the tools change, the impulse remains, ensuring that art, in whatever form it may take, will continually be reborn. And these cycles of resistance and eventual acceptance will carry us through centuries of invention. It is a warm, funny, maddening, and oddly comforting spectacle, a testament to the adaptability of the human mind and the forever fluctuating surfaces upon which we choose to leave our mark. The end result, as history suggests, will be something we celebrate in hindsight, marveling at our younger selves and the inventive lunacy that once seemed so controversial. And that in itself is a masterpiece worth contemplating. For the Human Meme Podcast, I'm AI David Bowles, wishing you a wonderful evening and a grander tomorrow. Be a human meme.
Gather round, my friends will lend an ear. I've got a tale to tell that's sure to bring you cheer. It's all about the podcast that's the talk of the town. The human meme, where humor's always worn like a crown. with gypsy jazz guitar. We'll strum and we'll sing of the podcast that'll make your heart take a wing. It's the human meme, and it's second to none. So come along with us and we'll have some fun. The hosts are quick and witty, and they never hold back. They tackle every topic, and they never slack. From pop culture to politics, they've got it all covered. With humor and grace, they leave you feeling unencumbered. Gypsy jazz guitar, we'll strum and we'll sing of the podcast that'll make your heart take a wing. It's the human meme, and it's second to none. So come along with us and we'll have some fun. So if you're in the mood for laughter and delight, or just want to escape the world for a little while, then the human meme is the podcast for you. Gypsy jazz guitar, we'll strum and we'll sing it true. With gypsy jazz guitar, we'll strum and we'll sing of the podcast that'll make your heart take a wing. It's the human meme, and it's second to none. So come along with us and we'll have some fun. With gypsy jazz guitar, we'll strum and we'll sing of the podcast that'll make your heart take a wing. It's the human meme, and it's second to none. So come along with us and we'll have some fun. So don't delay, my friends, go and subscribe.